Hello, this is Sarah Casanto with EAD Adult Learning course with Dr. Bono. I did my assignment number 2 lesson at my November staff meeting for my special ed department, and it was on B13 compliance. And normally we just kind of skim over and I have like a checklist of things that I want to get through, but this was the first time that I have done a formal lesson for my coworkers, so that was fun. Our objective was staff will be able to develop measurable annual goals related to post-secondary education and employment for students with IEPs while following proper procedure and protocol. Emphasis on proper procedure and protocol, because we are on the compliance plan. So a little background information was there are 10 staff members, 8 men, 2 women, 1 African American, and 9 people of Caucasian descent. And an interesting fact is they're between the ages of 24 and 62. We do have a few people with disabilities, 4 people with ADHD, 1 with autism, 1 partially blind, and 1 hard of hearing. So we have a lot of accommodations put in place for our staff to make sure that we are successful, to make sure we are able to accurately and effectively educate our students. So in the class where we did this lesson, I have a lot of modified seating. I have 4 tables with 4 chairs at each. I have 12 desks, some singular, some in rows, some in pods, some in duos. I have 4 computer chairs spread out around the room, and they can wheel them wherever they want. Just they're comfy chairs that a lot of staff just prefer to sit in, especially when we're just meeting one-on-one or doing a small group. And then I have a rug, which no adults did choose to sit at that, and then I have bean bags, and we were able to make it all sit or be around comfortably. I do have 1 staff member who likes to stand, so I have a rising desk that we pop up for them, so that way they can kind of keep their body active by standing and be able to focus. So the first thing we did was review the B13 corrective action plan that we are on, kind of build a plan for the 24-25 school year, with how we're going to monitor. We were able to kind of take a poll as adults, what works best for each other, and make sure that we have different ways for keeping staff engaged, keeping them on their toes. And we know we all learn differently, and that is the perk of being an adult, and that we are able to advocate for ourselves and get what we need to make sure that we are successful. And then we talked about submitting tasks, notes, and our action plans. And then hopefully when MDE pulls our data in the spring, we will be doing better. So we first turn and talk to our elbow partner. We know that I know with myself, and for a lot of my staff, that when we come in, we sit down, we sit next to the person, we want to chat with the person we share an office with, things like that, people that we have some things in common with. And this helps for our staff of 10 that we're able to really communicate. We're not just sitting there staring at each other. We're not doing the little small talk. We're able just to get right down to the nitty gritty and talk about what's happening with our kids, what's going on, why are we on the corrective action plan, things like that. And we're able to get stuff done. And so that's why I like doing the elbow partner. When we all share out, then usually it tends to be just one person's voice being heard, and then we go to the next, very orderly. Love the elbow partners, and so does our staff. So we're just able to have a nice quiet conversation with the people or person just around us. This is the B13 compliance checklist on the left. And then as a staff, we went over what we should all have for our students 16 and over, really all of them, but specifically the law says 16 and over with an IEP, an appropriate measurable post-secondary goal that's based upon age-appropriate transition assessments and transition services. And so we just really want to make sure that we are taking the students' interest, needs, desires first. They are leading the conversation, and we as the adults are supporting them in that. We are helping guide them in when they get stuck or they say, I don't know, or I don't know. And so we're able to still help them work through things as adults. They will need once they reach the adult world. And so for some assessments, I forgot to mention this before I got going, informal assessments was throughout the lesson. We pulled up our caseloads, our individual students, so that way we were able to kind of work through actual relevant student information versus me giving them an anonymous anonymous child or situation to work through. We were able to actually use our own caseload to make it relevant, make that connection, and hopefully build that bridge so that way we will remember. Like I said, informal assessments, that's how we do it. Formal assessments will be within 30 days. We almost all of us have an IEP, at least one every 30 days. And so before we submit it to be finalized, we'll send that specific portion of the IEP to our compliance coordinators, and we'll meet as a compliance team really quick or just via email and double check that it's been done right or it's done better, because we are looking for progress, not perfection, because we are humans, and progress, not perfection. Like I said, with the informal assessments, we had everybody just grab their most recent IEP. Whichever one was held recent, even if it was finalized, we brought it up because we can always do an amendment, and just collaborated on what was the findings. We have between our staff, like I said, ages 24 to 62, we have so many diverse educators who have worked in many different spaces and places, and it makes it that when we are able to collaborate, we are able to hear so many different ideas, options, experiences, and it helps us have unlimited opportunities to provide to our students. This was the monitoring task. I talked about this a little at the beginning, that we kind of collected some data to see how do you work most effectively, or how do you think? What helps you be able to get tasks completed? It's engaging to you. You're going to come back to that type of task over and over again. And some people said the compliance check sheet that MD provided, they make a copy of it for every kid, put their name on it, slap their name on it, and then boom, 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 move through it. I know for me, as much as I love being able to cross things off a to-do list, a checklist I struggle with that. My first go-to is go to Mr. KD. Amazing, amazing human. Don't know what I'm going to do without him. Hopefully he's not going anywhere, but I'm just already worried. But he'll attend department meetings, and he constantly is emailing us about ongoing topics with B13, and he is quite literally an email away. This man is amazing. And I know that I attempt it on my own. I look at my resources. I draft what I'm thinking based on the student and I's conversations, history, and things that I've learned from them. And then I send it to Katie, and he reviews it and then gives helpful input, questions, concerns, thoughtful comments, things like that. And that is how I know that I stay engaged. Working with others, communication like that, being held accountable by the email popping up is my way. It doesn't work for everybody, but I know that about myself. And some people express that during department meetings or post-secondary trainings, we have meetings every other Monday, the second Friday, the third Wednesday. They're just crazy. They're all over the place. And so even if we're not meeting specifically as a special ed group, we are a building, so we're all together throughout that time, so we're able to kind of check in with each other. So we were trying to create 3 different diverse ways to make sure that we all complete our B13 checklist requirements. It just some was, like I said, via the actual checklist, Mr. KD, or during the meetings, just connecting with one another. We had to do some compliance videos, and so those are in here. And then just some things to consider while you're thinking about it, or if it sparks a question or somebody to raise their hand to answer it, that was perfect. But it's a safe space. If nobody is answering and nobody has a question, we're just kind of processing. We just move along. We will always circle back to it. And some of the other videos are making sure that we are aligning with, obviously, the compliance part, but also just making sure that we're building our own practice. What works for one will not work for the other, and that's just life. And so we want to make sure that the compliance is followed and expectations are being upheld. And so we have to make sure that we are learning about ourselves as learners. And the kids crack up when I say that I learn every day. I'm a lifelong learner, and even though I'm the teacher, but I learn every day from my students, from my admin, from my colleagues, from my family, from my roommates. I'm able to learn more about myself and be more effective. And what you read on paper is not always real life. And so being able to communicate and talk through things and make sure that it is actually effective and relatable and reliable is extremely important. A few more videos that we had to do. And then we ended with thoughts and questions. And this is something we started because not after every lesson, video, conversation do I have a question, but sometimes I have a lot of thoughts. And in my thoughts come out a question. And we're able to use our past experiences, our different expertise to help support each other. And so if we have no questions, then we'll move on to thoughts. And this is where, as a team, I dismiss them. The lesson was over. They were able to wrap up the lesson / meeting because we had a 2:30 to 3:30 meeting was our time slot needed, but it was 3:30. And so that was the end of it. We were going to go through people's thoughts. So if a lot of us stay, I think only 1 or 2 people left because they had places to be, but we just go through our thoughts and nobody has to share if they don't want to. But usually that was really overwhelming. I don't think I got the entire middle. I'm going to have to go back and review that. I got really confused on this. And then the person next to them was like, oh, like, you know what? Like, we share an office. Like, I actually really understood the middle and we can talk about it tomorrow during our plan or during our lunch. And we're just able to really build that community to continue to educate each other and just build a stronger team. And we have really liked it. Just that little thing, instead of putting questions or comments, it was questions and thoughts. And we're just always constantly manipulating how we do things until we're most effective or we are more effective and keep on just progressing. I think that was everything. I had one more statement at the end and I cannot remember it. So thank you.